to another video. My name is Suzanne. I am a stay-at-home mom to 3 girls, and I like to post videos relating to lifestyle, motherhood, DIYs, anything along those lines. Today's video is going to be part 3 or episode 3 in my March Makeover series. I have been taking one video each week for the month of March and remaking or refreshing a room in my home. The first week we did my laundry room, and then the second week we did my stepdaughter Hannah's room. I called those a refresh just because it wasn't some huge transformation. It was noticeable, I think, and definitely an improvement, especially the laundry room. Hannah's room just feels a lot more cozy now. This is the first one in the month that I think is just the biggest transformation. I'm gonna go ahead and make it 2 parts. So today is part 1, and I'm splitting it up just because there was a lot of construction involved. Initially, we just knew we wanted to enclose our garage and make it a space that we could utilize, whether it was going to be a playroom or just an extra room. Our house is about just shy of 1,300 square feet, so I really wanted to make a room that we could add on, have a little bit extra square footage, a little bit more space to use for whatever. We enclosed it in December of last year, no, 2 years ago. Before that it was just a garage, and then the laundry room was in the garage. Once we enclosed it, we made a separate laundry room, or my husband I should say, he did almost all of it. So he made a separate laundry room, which is great to have a designated laundry space. And then there's the actual room, which is just the rest of the garage. I'll insert some photos. You might have seen clips of it here and there. I didn't do a full tour of it before we redid it, so I'll just put in some photos. Basically, it just had the drywall up, and then it ended up being a room for my stepdaughter. She decided that she was going to be out there. It does have a closet. There's no door on the closet, and there's no door on the room. We just used a curtain to kind of make it a partition. It does have the door into the garage though, so there's a little bit of privacy, but not a lot. It did okay as a bedroom, but it was kind of displaced from the rest of the house, and she didn't care for that. I know some teens might think that's really cool, but I don't think she was a big fan of that. We decided to move her back in the house, and we have my 2 youngest sharing a room. So we didn't really know what to do with that space now, so we decided to make it a play area. My husband has a really nice drum set, so we have the drum kit set up in there, and then the playroom is in there. So just all the toys that there's really no room for in the littlest girl's room can be out there. There's also a couch. You can see from the pictures, I have this lovely couch that used to belong to my grandfather. I didn't plan on keeping it. My husband actually is the one who wanted it. I could put a slip cover on it, but I think I'm just gonna let it ride and have it be a vintage cool piece in the room. You can just see from the pictures though, it was just sort of a catch-all room. The playroom even wasn't set up well. At one point I had it partitioned off into 2 separate rooms, and that still didn't feel right. I think the best idea is just to have a big all-inclusive room as just a big hangout room slash extra living room that the girls can play in, or Hannah can come and hang out with her friends. Just make it kind of a fun extra family room. We did put a TV out there too because we got a new TV for Hannah, so we put the old TV out there because it still works and there's nothing wrong with it, so we didn't want to just get rid of it. So it's out there as well. I don't know if we'll hook it up, we might, but for now at least it's just sitting out there. The room wasn't finished, it needed trim, it still had some areas that were open, so we wanted to definitely put some trim up, both baseboards and at the top, to enclose all of that. I also wanted to designate the playroom a little bit better, and I also wanted to make it feel cozier. Hannah painted it white just to go with whatever style she had, and it worked okay, but with the blue floor, it just felt a little cold and cave-like. I really wanted to paint it a color that would warm it up, and I wanted to do another Board and Batten wall, just because I feel that would add some interest, and again, just make it feel more cozy, more homey, and more part of the house, instead of just a garage with a few walls that were put up. I will show you the end result next week. Today's video is just going to focus on the construction stuff, so putting up the trim, painting, the kind of woodwork that needed to get done, kind of configuring the space a little bit, I also have a chalkboard wall that I wanted to frame out. You can kind of see it a little bit in the pictures. I just wanted to make a frame around it so it just felt a little bit more complete. I also want to hang some shelves. We have the sprinkler system in there and I want to hide it. I like the curtains, those are gonna stay. But just make the room feel more like a room, more like a hangout place, and less just cold and kind of unwelcoming, because that's how it felt, and Lucy didn't want to play out there. And if we were gonna spend the money to enclose it, we just wanted to make sure that we were getting our money's worth and that it would be a room that everybody could use, everyone can enjoy, and actually be in, and it felt like part of the house. I think we accomplished that. I cannot wait for you to see the final result next week. I just thought with all of it together, it would be way too long of a video. Today, you'll get a little bit of an idea of how it looks. You'll kind of see what we're going to do. The paint I already had, it was left over from my front door or left over from other projects. Even the white paint for the trim, that was leftover paint that I had as well. I just tried as best I could to rework everything that I had. I will go ahead and get into the video and let you see what we've done so far, and then part 2 will be next week where you can see the final finished product. I'm gonna start by getting everything cleared out of the room, or at least just pushed into the middle of the room. That way I can get to the walls easier so that I can get my painting started. I just felt like paint would probably be the easiest place to start. What it's like to feel your skin. I will keep on trying to. Okay, so here's the color. It is Sweet as a Peach from Sherwin-Williams. Yes, it is peach. It is bright, and it is so different from the rest of our house. Our house is very neutral and has like whites and blues and tans and creams. So I just thought that this would be different and fun. I already had the paint anyways, and I had a lot of it. So I wanted to use it and, I don't know, just do something different. I love the look of the peaches and pinks mixed with teals and mint. So I kind of wanted to play with that, and it kind of worked out anyway since I already had everything. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this color on the wall, and I just think it instantly warmed up the room and made everything feel cozier and a lot more just warm and less like a big cave. I wanna go all in. So give me a sign. Before I continue on with the wall, I wanted to frame out this chalkboard wall that I had made. It just kind of went straight into the white wall, so I wanted to paint a frame around it and make it stand out a little bit against the peach wall. So I went ahead and taped it off, that way I didn't paint inside of where I wanted the frame to go. You think about it too, when the lights go out and there's no doubt that I should be with. We've been on and off again and again. I don't know which way we're going, no control. You push me, then you pull me back in. We've been on and off again and again. I don't know which way we're going, no control. You push me, then you pull me back in. So give me a sign. Give me a sign. Baby, just give me a sign. Baby, give me a sign. Just give me one more talking to you, and here we go again. Staying up all night to see if you've been texting me. Where do we go from here? I wanna go all in. So give me a sign. Alright, I'm going to finish taping off this frame that I wanted to make, and then I'm going to paint it. I already had the paint color. It was left over from the Board and Batten wall that I did in our main bathroom, and it is Sherwin-Williams Accessible Beige. I just had it made into a bare paint, but that is the color, and it's just this really nice light beige kind of gray color. I definitely recommend it if you're looking for a very neutral but warm grayish, I guess you could call it. It's very pretty. It's not super noticeable against the peach, but it definitely creates a little bit of a barrier, so I think it looks a lot nicer than just having nothing. I did run out of the tape right here, so it kind of got a little messy, but overall I think it ended up turning out really good, so I'm glad that I went ahead and did this. This is the finished product for the painted room. I didn't worry about this side of the wall over here because that's where the board and batten will go, and then I didn't paint all the way up to the top or the bottom because that's where we're going to be adding our trim and our baseboards. So I wasn't really super worried about getting it all the way to the top. I probably could have gone a little bit higher, but I did leave some space up here just so we could put the trim on and the board and batten wall, and I didn't really have to waste my time over painting everything. Overall, I love the peach. I think it turned out so pretty. The color is very warm and inviting. This armoire will go over here so I can have a little bit of extra space, and it matches too, and the TV stand can move. It'll go back against this wall, and then this is about how much space the TV will take up, so it will fill in the wall pretty nicely. But overall, I really like how the room looks. I'm going to put the drums back here in the corner, and then this couch is actually going to go up against the board and batten wall. And then I'll probably just do some shelves over here, just something on this wall to fill it in, and then hopefully we'll get a door put in here eventually. We have a couple that we're looking at that could work. I'm going to remove the tape now. You can see it's just a really subtle frame, but I definitely think it added a little bit so it doesn't look like the chalkboard wall is just floating. The last thing I did this day was just replace the light bulb and put a warm bulb instead of that bright white light. We're on our way to Home Depot now. We needed to get everything for the board and batten and also for the baseboards and the trim up top. So it was a lot of wood for this trip. I did do a place ahead order, but we ended up getting there sooner, so they let us just go ahead and grab everything and we didn't have to wait on them. I decided I would paint the trim while it was still on the ground instead of waiting until we put it up into the room, and this ended up being so much easier. The only downside was it was really cold and it was very dewy, so I had to paint a couple of them over again because there was so much moisture in the air. But overall, I'm really glad that I went ahead and painted it while it was still down here and not waited until I got it on the wall, because then I would have had to tape everything off and that would have been a huge hassle. Morning, Bren went in and we measured, and he cut all the wood down to size with the table saw. It was kind of frustrating because we couldn't get the wood through and straight into the room. We had to actually take each piece out and put it through the window to get it into the room due to the tight corner, but that's okay. It worked out and everything got up and it looks so much nicer. I am so thankful we went ahead and did this because it really helped to finish off the room and just give it that extra detail and also make it look more complete than just having the gaps between the drywall and the ceiling and the floor. Bryn is cutting the trim now to do the board and batten wall. We've done a few of these now and they get a little bit easier each time. It's actually just cutting it is the worst part, and then measuring it to make sure you have enough spacing. We did kind of have to smush a couple of them together, but I really wasn't that worried about it. It's just a family room and we're just hanging out and you can't really notice it, but it was just due to the size of the room. It was kind of an odd length. So we went ahead and got this done and put up for the night, and did the caulking as well, so everything was ready to go and I would be able to paint the next morning. This is what the finished product looked like just with the board and batten done. I have not obviously painted yet, but I really love how this looks on the wall. I think it adds a lot just architecturally to the room and gives it a little nice detail as well. I still need to paint the floorboard where the cement is from the garage, but the trim just looks so much better than how it was before. I'm so thankful that we did this. Now is the next day. I went and painted just to have everything all done. I got up early that morning so that I could just paint and get it over with and let that dry, because once I did that, I was able to start pushing furniture around and getting it out of the middle of the room.
No one else is home.
The paint is just the same color that I did the trim. I had so much of it left over. It's actually a touch-up paint that we color matched to the paint that's in the rest of our house. I don't even know the color. The people who owned the house previously were the ones who painted it, and we just took a chip in and tried to color match it, but it's pretty much an off-white color. The only thing I didn't like is that I accidentally got a matte paint instead of getting an eggshell or satin. So I wasn't unhappy to use it all up anyways, because I do want to go get a different kind of paint for the house. This is the finished product. I love the board and batten wall. It stands out so beautifully. It looks so nice, especially against the peach. And I am so thankful that we did this project in here. It definitely needed it. That's going to do it for part one. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that it was fun for you to see it come together as far as the paint and the board and batten wall and the trim. It's just little things that I think the most expensive thing was probably just the wood, honestly, to do the trim and the board and batten, because just wood's kind of pricey anyways. We did take our trip to Home Depot, so we were able to get everything, but it was a little pricey. I will have part two coming up next Sunday. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you to all of my new and returning subscribers. You all are amazing. I've been having so much fun making these videos this month, and I will try to do another series like this again soon. Thank you, and I look forward to seeing you next week.